What is going on, guys? So here in Pensacola, Florida, guys, Pompano season is right around the corner and I am jacked up about it. I cannot wait to get out on the beach and try to catch some of these fish. They will be everywhere very, very soon. I'm actually going out tomorrow to see if we can't get on some of these early season Pompano, and that's usually when the big ones get caught. So in today's video, I'm going to give you guys a breakdown of what you need to go surf fishing. Like budget reels, budget rods, line, you know, all that good stuff. The kind of rigs that I use, the kind of jigs that I use, just everything that you can have to go out to the beach and have a good time fishing and try to catch some of these pompanos. So we're going to dive right into it. Alright, y'all. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is rods, reels, you know, just the gear that you're going to need to be able to go out and try to catch these fish. I'm going to give you guys a budget reel, budget rod type thing because I personally don't go spend $500-600 on a surf fishing setup. You know, I think you could probably get this whole setup for 120 bucks tops. You know, you can go cheaper if you need to, but this is just a kind of a good baseline of where you can start. So the reel that I'm going to recommend, it is a Penn Fierce 3 6000. I did put a power knob on it. They don't come with those. Got 40-pound braid on it. Which else, you know, 40-pound braid, you can go lighter if you want to. You can go a little bit smaller, maybe 4,500, 5,000 type reel. You don't need a 6,000 necessarily to start, but this is just a good baseline, you know, super, super good reel. Puts down enough pressure to where if you hook a big black drum or something like that, you'll have no problems getting it in. So that's a super good rod. And we're going to go into rods. So guys, I got this at Academy. It is a H2O Express. It's 12 foot, super, super good rod. I mean, I can throw a 4-ounce weight a mile with this thing. It seems like it goes a super long ways. Like I said, it's only 50 bucks at Academy. So pair this with that, guys, and that's probably going to be one of the best surf combinations that you can get. Some people go longer on the rods, you know, 13 to 15 foot. That's just a little too much for me, honestly. I can throw this 12 out there plenty far. I also got 10 footers I use, 9 footers I use. You don't have to go get a 12-foot rod. You know, I mean, I actually go out with 7-foot, 8-foot rods all the time, and you know, they catch fish just like any other one will. But there's a trick to catching these pompano. You don't want to horse them in, you know, and a lot of times they'll run up and down the beach, get in the waves and stuff. And a lot of times when they get in those waves, they'll pull the hooks out or they'll turn on their side, and you know, it just gets frustrating. So you want to fish super loose drag, not like, you know, crazy loose, but you want it to be loose enough to where that hook will still get in the fish's mouth. But if he goes take off, you know, on a big long run or something like that, he can pull drag and not rip that hook out of his face. So H2O Express rod, Penn Fierce 6,000, 5,000, 4,500, you know, it really doesn't matter. I would recommend, if you've got a little bit of extra money to spend, to maybe get a Spin Fisher VI or something that's got a sealed unit. So in case this gets dumped in the water or something like that when you're going, you know, wading out to cast it, your reel's not going to get destroyed. But I've dunked this reel in the water many times. I just rinse it off with a bottle of water when I get back on the beach, or, you know, when we're done fishing. So overall, that's a good combo setup that you can go run out on the beach in. And next, we're going to get into rigs, jigs, leaders, weights, all that good stuff. So let's get to it. All right, y'all. So now we're going to get into the rigs that you're going to use when you're going out to catch these pompano. I make my own most of the time. I mean, there's several different types of, you know, floats and stuff that you can use. There's little teardrops. There's little pill weights, big, small, bunch of different combinations that you can use. But if you don't want to make your own rigs and you want to go buy some, my buddy Salty McCrory over at Salty's Pompano Rigs, he makes some really good rigs. And I mean, every color you can name, think of, imagine, he's got it. They actually have custom painted hooks too, which else a lot of people aren't doing. So that's also just more color in the water, something to draw that fish's attention over there to you. But pink's one of my favorite colors. Orange works really good, especially the pink works really good in clear water. You go get muddier water, you want to use a dark color, maybe a purple or a green or something that fish is going to be able to see the contrast of that float through the water as far as possible. The hooks that we use aren't giant. I'm going to show you two different sizes. I believe this is a size 1, this is a size 2. The only problem with these size 1s is they'll catch the crap out of some pompano. But if you hook one of these 30, 40 pound black drums and you put too much pressure on him, that hook's going to straighten out every time. These hooks here, a little bit more backbone. You can put a little bit more pressure on these fish so you don't have to fight them as long. But super, super good stuff to use. These rigs here, all rigs that I use 20-pound Yozuri hybrid. You can use monofilament, fluorocarbon, you know, whatever really floats your boat. But I usually stay around the 20-pound range unless I'm not getting a lot of bites. And then I'm gonna drop down to, like, you know, 12-pound test, 20-pound test. I want to stay somewhere in that ballpark. You don't want to go too heavy to the 30, 40, 50, 60 because then your bite numbers are going to go way down. You're not going to catch as many fish. It's just too heavy. You don't need it. I mean, we're not out trying to catch 60-pound fish. We're out trying to catch 2 to 5-pound fish most of the time is what these Pompano run. So 12 to 20-pound monofilament or fluoro. I use fluorocarbon just personally, but that'll be all you need. Like I said, go get you some of these Pompano rigs if you don't want to make them your own. I mean, I've caught bukus of fish on these rigs. I still use them to this day, just in case I'm being lazy, don't want to tie my own. But like I said, there's many different forms. I believe these are called queen clams or something like that. These little shapes here. You got the teardrops. You can get the little squared off ones. I've seen people use like the earplug, that type stuff. These little bitty ones. It's really just all on preference, and I like to put a ton of different styles out. So I'll use, you know, I'll have the pink on one rod, the orange on another rod, the blue on this rod, and we're just gonna see what these fish are keying in on, what they like. I noticed a lot last year. I was using these white teardrops with pink fish bites and some peeled shrimp, and it was like every time that's all they would hit. I had sand fleas out, sand flea flavored fish gums, all that good stuff. But it's all about testing out to see what works best for the situation, like the water clarity. You know, there's just so many factors that go into this that you want to get as many presentations out as possible and then try to dial in really on what they're keying in on. We also have really, really big ones, you know. A fish is going to see this from a long ways away. It's bright yellow, super, you know, I mean, it's just, there's so many different ways you can go with these rigs. It's just it's all up to you which one you think works well. It could be your favorite color, you know, maybe your favorite color is orange. So you want to throw an orange one, or your favorite color is purple. Throw a purple one and just kind of see what these fish are keying in on and kind of go from there. Another thing I want to talk about real quick, guys. So you're going to be out on the beach all day. It's going to be hot. It's going to be sunny. You want to protect yourself. These shirts here I get from a company called Archipelago Outfitters. They're SPF 50. You're not going to get sunburned. You're not going to look like a lobster the next day. It'll protect your skin, keep you from getting sunburned. Another thing that you want to invest in is one of these face buffs, guys. And all you're going to do with this is you just throw it on, throw your hat back on, and then this thing here is going to protect your face, your ears, you know, the back of your neck, all that good stuff from just getting scorched by the sun. I wear it every time I go fishing just because I don't like being miserable and being sunburnt and all that good stuff. So invest in some quality fishing gear, guys. Make sure that you got SPF 50 shirts, you know, face buffs. Some people wear things on their legs, all that good stuff. So just protect your skin, because you don't want to be 80 years old walking around, you know, burnt up, skin's all jacked up from sun poisoning, or, you know, skin cancer. I mean, you can get skin cancer out here if you sit on the beach all day, every day, and do not protect your skin. Use sunscreen, guys. I've seen so many people go out to the beach to go fishing, and the next day you look like a lobster. You do not have to do that to yourself, guys. Go get some protective clothing and take care of your skin. So I'm going to show you guys real quick how we get these all set up. So you're going to pull your rig out. Like I said, they got these painted hooks, which else is really, really cool. Got these painted hooks. You got swivels and all that good stuff. Let me get this thing untangled. So a Pompano rig is it's a double drop rig. You got a swivel to tie your main line to, your top bait, your bottom bait, and then you got this snap swivel at the bottom. The snap swivel, there's a couple different kind of weights you use. The two that I use I use a 3 or 4 ounce Sputnik if the water's really, really turned up, really rough, you know, your baits aren't holding. And all you're gonna do is just clip that thing on there. And then this thing here, it's actually designed so it digs into the sand almost like an anchor, but as soon as that fish bites and you pop it loose, these legs actually unfold and kick that weight kind of out of the sand so it's not buried in there. And you don't have to fight the weight the whole way back. Another type of weight that I use is just a regular old pyramid weight. You match your weights to what the water's doing. So if, you know, it's really calm out and there's hardly any waves, you know, a 1 ounce weight, 2 ounce weight's gonna be all you need. But if you get out there and it's, you know, 2, 3, 4 footers, you're gonna need 4 or 5, maybe 6 ounces of weight. And this when these Sputniks really come in, because I can throw this 3-ounce Sputnik and it'll stick better than a 4-ounce, you know, pyramid will, just because that's the way it's designed. So now that we got all the rigs covered, we're gonna get into one of my favorite ways to catch these pompano, and that's throwing these little pompano jigs. I got these jigs at birdofpreyfishingtackle.com. I'll put the link below so you guys can go check it out. But I use those style, and then there's, I call it a wacky jig, banana jig, you know, whatever. But these also work really good. And then I'll show you guys. So there's also these little teasers, and you can either put like a little snap swivel on, and you can connect them kind of like this. Or what I like to do, I'll actually show you guys real quick because I want to kind of talk about this too. When I'm throwing these jigs, 3,000 size reel, 15-pound braid, 12 to 20-pound leader. But I'll show you guys how. So you can either do it one of 2 ways. You can either get it just like this, or what I like to do is I'll put the teaser up on the leader a little bit. I mean, you can fish it just like that. Have a teaser on the jig, teaser up top, put a little fish gum or fish bites on that teaser so that, you know, it's got that scent. So whenever they come up to check it out, they can smell, you know, that pompano, that secret weapon, or, you know, whatever it is that you're using. And I found that very, very productive for catching pompano, and it kills them inshore. But we're using a light rod. This is my little fake green, 7'1", medium fast. I can throw this little jig. I can throw this jig a mile with this little setup. Some people even bump the braid down to, you know, 8 to 10-pound braid, which else is fine. That's all you're gonna need. Like I said, we're not out here trying to catch 60-pound fish. We're catching 2 to 5-pound fish. But guys, I'm telling you, just catching pompano on these little jigs like this, or the ones I just showed you, that it's a whole different fight than when you're, you know, horsing them in with a 12-foot rod, 6,000 size reel. You know, these fish actually pull drag, and they pull a lot of drag. They're very strong. They're in the jack family. So if you've caught jack crevalle, you know, all the amberjack, all that good stuff, they fight. And I mean, they dig too. But like I said, just use some 20-pound monofilament fluorocarbon, tie one of these jigs on, you know, just kind of walk the beach, pitching that thing out. The way to work it is, so what I do is with these here, like I'll throw it as far as I can. I'll send it out there, and I just sit there with my rod up, and I just let it get down on the bottom, get settled in. And then all you're gonna wanna do is you just reel it tight and then just pop it, and it'll pull this bait off the bottom, and it'll go back down. And then you just let it sit, pop, pop, you know, switch it up a little bit, reel it tight, pop, pop. And then, trust me, when they hit it, they hammer these things. Also, what I'll do is I will tip my hook with either, you know, fresh peeled shrimp, fish gum, fish bites, whatever, you know, whatever it is that you're using. And it'll, you know, that scent will get those fish to actually commit to the bait instead of coming up and just short striking it or just looking at it. And, you know, you don't even know they're there, obviously. But you put a little scent on one of these things, like I mean, when I say little, like a little bitty piece, just tip it on the end of it, and it's game changing. You'll go from getting no bites on just a plain old jig to now they got a scent and a flavor when they hit it that'll make them hold on to it. And it's super effective to catch pompano. It's so fun in the surf catching pompano on jigs. It's not easy, but people do it all the time. The same thing with these jigs. You can put a little piece of fish gum or fish bites on the end of it, peeled shrimp, whatever. And it just puts a hurting on them pompano, guys. All right, and the last thing that we're gonna talk about is kind of how to read a beach, get a feel for where these fish are gonna be at, because not everybody, you can't just walk straight, you know, find the closest access to the beach, walk straight down and expect to catch fish. You gotta kind of, there's structures in the water that these fish will kind of hang on, you know, like rips, sandbars, big troughs, like pool type things. And I'm actually gonna do a video really soon to kind of go really in depth on how I go out whenever I'm just now walking out to the beach and I'm scanning the beach to see where I want to set up at, what I look for to where I'm like, okay, there's going to be fish here, fish there. That way you're not kind of guessing and just throwing baits out and sitting there like, why am I not getting a bite? One thing that I look for is that you don't want to go on a super slick, calm day looking for sandbars and, you know, guts and stuff like that, because it's going to be, you're not going to be able to find them. What you want to look for, so when I walk out to the beach and you'll see the waves, you know, starting to roll over, white capping, what you want to look for is the gaps. So let's say there's a wave coming in here, and then there's a 20-foot gap, and then another wave, and there's just like a calmer spot in the middle. That's going to be one area that I'm going to target because it's deeper. That's why, because the sandbars are up high, and then there's a deep pocket, and that's why those waves aren't rolling like everywhere else is, because it's just deeper water. And you'll see it, they'll be rolling here, and then once it gets closer, it'll start rolling in that middle spot when that big, that bowl kind of comes back up into the shallow water. And those fish will be there. I'm telling you, they'll be there. Another thing to look for is a rip. I'm sure everybody knows what a rip looks like. You can see them pushing the water back out, sucking the water out, and the whitewash and all that stuff. That's another area you're going to want to target. I'll throw a bait off to the left of it. I'll throw a bait on the back side of it, on the right side of it, maybe in it, just to see where those fish are at, because they could be swimming all around that. And what that rip's doing is it's pushing all those sand fleas and clams and all that bait and all that stuff is sucking it out, and those fish are just tearing it up. As soon as it gets out of there, they just hang out there and wait on it. It's like free food. So if you get a bait into a spot like that, you're gonna catch fish. Another thing that I do is I'm not gonna spend all day in one spot. So let's say I walk up to this first little cut that I found, and I spend 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour there, and I'm not getting any bites. I'm gonna reel everything up, and I might move 50 yards this way, 50 yards that way, and you want to keep moving to where the fish will come to you, but it's gonna take a lot longer. So I like to just kind of hop around and see where these fish are coming from. Sometimes it's even, let's say you got 4 rods out. So I got this one thrown out, 20 yards, this one 40 yards, this one 60 yards, and this one as far as I can. I might reel this rod in and scoot it over here and then throw it out. And then, because I've done this many a times, I've had my 4 rods out and didn't get a single bite. I moved this rod over here and instantly started getting fish. So don't think that just because you're not getting bites, there's not fish there, because I guarantee you they're out there. I mean, there's fish everywhere in the Gulf of Mexico, the ocean, wherever you're fishing. You got to go find the fish. And your productivity is going to go up so much if you don't just sit in one spot for 5 hours. If you got to hop around, you want to move around. Like I said, move this rod over here and that rod over there. And, just kind of, you want to stagger them out. Have one, flip one bait 15, 20 yards off the beach. Throw a couple out as far as you can. Get some in front of the sandbars, behind the sandbars, on the sandbar. You don't want to throw every bait you got as far as you can at and have every bait sitting in the same water depth, because those fish aren't always going to be cruising in the same spot. They'll be shallower, they'll be deeper, they'll be in the mid-range. You gotta move your baits around. And then another thing that I do is I don't let a bait sit in the water for 40, 50 minutes. I let a bait sit out there 10, 15 minutes maybe, and I'm gonna reel it in, check my bait, freshen it up, and throw it back out there. Because a lot of times what will happen is like little pinfish or little whiting and stuff like that, they'll come up and they'll just peck your shrimp off, and you're not gonna feel a bite from a fish that long. It'll peck your shrimp off, start tearing your fish gum off, your fish bites, whatever you're using. So every 5, 10, 15 minutes, reel that up, check your bait, put fresh bait on it, and throw it back out there, because you don't want to be fishing on credit. Obviously, you're not going to catch anything on a bare hook. I mean, they might come up and try to eat this float, just thinking it's something in the water, and you get lucky. But you want to have bait in the water, you want to have fresh bait in the water, and you want to hop from spot to spot. So I hope this video helps you guys out. Like I said, go get you you don't have to go buy a $500 reel to catch fish. This one here, I want to say they're about 80 bucks, 90 bucks. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not really sure. I bought this one a while ago, and I bought it as a combo with a 9-foot rod. So go get you a little 4, 5, 6,000 size reel. If you want something bigger, cool. If you don't, okay. 12. I wouldn't go 7, 8 foot, just because you're not going to get that distance you want on your long cast. Now, I've even taken like this rod here. I'll take this and tie on like a 1-ounce Carolina rig, and I'll use it to fish that first little gut right off the beat. I mean, you cast 20, 30 feet, and I'll let that bait sit there, and sometimes those pompano will be up that shallow. Whiting will be up that shallow 100%. So if you're not getting any bites and you want to, get some people on some fish or produce some fish, throw in a little Carolina rig. I don't know if you know what a Carolina rig is, but you'll take a weight, put it on your main line. You'll have a swivel, a leader with a hook, and you can use, fish bites, fish gum, whatever it is that you're wanting to use, and just hop around and find these fish. So hopefully this video helps you guys out and y'all can go get on them this spring. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a video real soon on my in-depth on how I read the beach, what I look for, all that good stuff. And I'm ready to go get on these pompano, guys. I don't know about y'all. I'm sure y'all are ready to see some insane surf fishing content. Like I said, I'm going out tomorrow to try to get on some. Usually when you're catching pompano, there's big black drum, big redfish. So, you know, have a piece of cut bait out too. You don't have to just strictly fish for pompano. Sometimes you can have a Carolina rig on, 2 pompano rigs, and then have a bait out, you know, for bull reds, big black drum, whatever it is, blue, you know, using blue crab, cut mullet, whatever it is that you want to use. So hopefully this video helps you guys out. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll catch y'all next time.